Hello and welcome to this week's Granny's Garden. Now this week I got my hand on 3 I'CONIA Unstoppable Fire Begonias. These ones. Now the I'CONIA Begonias are bred by Dümmen Orange and they're relatively new to the market. The first ones appeared around about the year 2015 and then new varieties appeared again in 2019, and I'm absolutely positive with the trajectory that these crowd are showing there's going to be new and more exciting varieties in the year to come. The I'CONIA can be divided into 3 categories. There's the upright, the mounded and the semi-trailing, and this one is an upright. Now within the upright category, this one is called Unstoppable Fire, and you've got these, it's true, beautiful fiery orange colour on the petals, and then the throat on the inside is yellow. And it really makes it stand out because you've got the beautiful bright pop of flowers against a dark foliage. And talking about this foliage, we ought to have a closer look at the leaves. There's a lot more to this plant than first meets the eye. The leaves are a very, very dark green, which really makes the orange flower stand out. But if you look closely, the veins of the leaf are a light colour, which again stands out against the darker foliage. But if you flip the plant over, you can see there at the back as well, the underside of each leaf is a reddish colour. So it's quite complex, but it's certainly a beautiful plant. It goes without saying that these flowers are extremely vibrant, but they also have a very long blooming period, starting at the beginning of spring or mid-spring, going right up until the frosts kill the foliage. So that's a lot of bang for your buck. As with all begonias, you need to get the water spot on. They like free draining soil, like any begonia. And I always say the best thing with begonias, and indeed the best thing with most plants, is use your little finger, well, your index finger. Stick it in the soil. Begonias need to have about the first, say, inch or inch and a half dry before you water again. So stick your finger in it. If it feels wet, don't water it. If it feels dry, water it. It's as simple as that. Forget about every 2 days, every week, twice a week. Use your finger. The next thing we're going to talk about is light. Now begonias prefer dappled shade to shade. If you do live in a cooler climate, you can have it in a sunnier position, always provided that you keep it out of the midday sun. Because you know what the saying goes, mad dogs and Englishmen are the only one that go out in the midday sun. But we're not going to add begonias to that list because they just don't like it. Too much light is going to cause scorching both on the leaf and on the petals. The next thing I talk about is fertilize. I fertilise them, begonias, about every 2 to 3 weeks. No more than that, probably more every 3 weeks than every 2 weeks. Now these little babies are not cold hardy, so don't plant them outdoors until your minimum temperatures are above 10 degrees Celsius, which is about 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The next thing is, these are an upright variety, but in the website they do recommend it for pots and for hanging baskets. So I am going to put them in a hanging basket to see how they get along. It's all about experimenting, isn't it? Right, now I have my hanging basket here, and although this square here does coincide more or less to keep it straight, it's still a bit wobbly. So what I always do is just bring in one of these wider pots that I always have lying around after I buy things from the garden centre, plop it in and work like that. Works like a dream. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is just get this coconut liner inside, like so, and I'm going to use just normal potting soil. So let's just fill this up. Now these guys get to about 16 inches tall and the spacing is supposed to be 14 inches. Now in actual fact this is a 14-inch diameter pot, or basket in this case, but I'm actually going to pop 3 in because I want it to be nice and full from the very beginning. If it starts going absolutely crazy and bonkers, then I'll remove one of them. But for the moment it's going to have 3. Make 3 little wells, and I will be using just some planter fertilizer because I like to use it. I'm just putting it at a slight angle now towards the outside because it is a basket. And all I need to do is backfill around here and make sure those little roots are nicely tucked in. So as you can see, for the moment the space between them, it will no doubt fill out this way as it grows as well. So all I've got left to do now, since it is in a bucket, is give it a good water and then we'll hang it up. to do now is not to forget to either water or fertilise it, and there's no chance of that happening. It's literally in my face as I walk in the door every day. I'm going to be giving you updates throughout the growing season because this is the first time I've grown this variety, and I love tryouts, I love trials. So hopefully it'll get both upwards and slightly outwards. It's not a cascading, but it will grow slightly outwards, and they are angled outwards. Now on future years, my inclination would be to use this as a filler and possibly intertwine it with other things that trail, like lobelia, and possibly even put a thriller in the middle. I don't know, this is my first year, and my first year I just like to leave it on its own so I can see how it performs. So for the moment from me, it's bye, and I'll see you here next week in Granny's garden. So it's bye from me and my begonias. What's looking good in the garden this week? It has got to be the iris. Aren't they just gorgeous? I planted this plant 2 autumns ago. Last year I only got leaves, and this year is certainly making up for it. What a mass of flowers and loads of buds to come.